I think that one of the toughest times for any DCF case is during the holidays. And it all depends on whether or not DCF has custody of your children or where you are with your case. So I'll start with investigation cases. Typically, during investigation cases, you might find that the DCF worker is out of the office. And so there will just be these points in time during investigation where you have no clue what's going on. And that's when you get frustrated because you're thinking, wait a minute, you have 45 days, you have 33 days, depending on what they use, and you're thinking, shouldn't my case be closed or shouldn't we be moving forward? Those are times where it can be very frustrating and you may not hear from the DCF worker. What you can do is continue to document. You can send emails. I would prefer you send emails because, again, it provides a chain where you can actually see the conversations and proof of these conversations back and forth with DCF. Don't be afraid to contact the supervisor or the supervisor, which is a program supervisor, and keep going up the chain of command just to find out what's happening with your case. I tend to say no news is good news, but when there's a DCF case pending and you don't know if they're going to close their case or keep it open, those are frustrating times. And during the holidays, it's probably even more heightened because people tend to take time off during the holidays. So if that is you, just continue to reach out, make sure you make the contact. If you need to hire an attorney like us, what we would do in addition to that is probably try to reach out to the principal attorney. Just push and push until you get an answer, and you should be getting an answer. Even if it's not the DCF worker that's assigned to the case, they can send someone as a substitute for the time being just to make sure that things are going okay. There aren't any concerns, to document that so that the case can move towards closure or to move towards the next step. But, making sure that you are clear. Now, if DCF has an open case with you, meaning that there's this ongoing social worker during the holidays, it's probably pretty good to ask them, when is your vacation, or are you taking time off? When is the next home visit? And see if you can schedule your home visits through the holidays. And that way you will at least know when to expect them and when not to expect them. And that way your case also continues to move forward. If you make a home visit and you don't know when they're coming again, they could try to call last minute, which they often like to do, and say, hey, I got to come out to the house tonight, or I have to come out to the house tomorrow morning, or whatever the time period is, making you feel very flustered and frustrated because now you have to change things because you don't want to seem uncooperative. But at the same time, you want to stand your ground and say, hey, I didn't know you were coming. I had other plans, which is absolutely reasonable to be able to say. But if this is, a possibility that DCF is not going to be closing your case before January 1st, it's probably a good idea to schedule out whatever the home visits are going to be. And that way and you don't have to worry about it. Now, if DCF has actually removed your child and it's not likely that the kids are going to come back before January 1st, one of the things that you want to try to do is find out, again, when the DCF worker will be out of town, or not necessarily out of town, but out of the office and on vacation and not around, and make sure that your visits for the holidays are actually going to happen. Sometimes DCF will approve someone that's close to the family, as long as they've had the background check done, to maybe supervise on Christmas or to supervise on Thanksgiving or Christmas Eve. So it's really important that you present those options soon and do not wait until the day before, the week before. It gets very chaotic because everyone wants their special visit. Everyone wants their extra time, and understandably so. But if you can present DCF with a plan that they don't necessarily have to come up with or actually have to arrange, because remember, the offices are going to be closed on Christmas, on Thanksgiving, on New Year's. So there won't be anybody to actually do supervised visits, and it's not likely that a worker is going to want to do overtime, and I'm not even sure if that's possible. So what you want to do is make those arrangements as soon as possible. Do not just ask for Thanksgiving because that's coming up quickly. Ask for Thanksgiving, ask for Christmas. Some families, Christmas Eve is the bigger day. I know in the Caribbean, Boxing Day, the day after Christmas, is a big day. So, depending on what your family celebrates, you want to actually come up with a plan to let them know, hey, I have these people who are willing to supervise the visits with me so that I can spend, half day with them. I can spend a couple of hours with them. Please don't ask for them to come home for a 3-day weekend because it's not likely unless you are days away from reunification. So if you're still in the reunification phase and you're still needing to prove yourself and go through your services and be able to document your progress, and so the kids aren't going to come home before the New Year's, you can start planning and coming up with these resources. Present the individuals, talk to the foster parent to see if they're willing to have you come over, even if it's Christmas Eve or the day after Christmas. But do whatever you can to plan ahead so that you're not waiting for the week of when either your worker might be out or things are very, very busy, and then you're not able to see the kids during the holidays. It's going to be hard for them as well. So whatever you can do to normalize it for them as much as possible, make it as great as you can. Even if you've got limited resources, Dollar Store is a gem if you ask me. So you can do whatever you can to make it really special for them, for your kids, and celebrate that time. And, don't make any false promises saying, oh, I'm going to make sure you're home within whatever time period it is. All of that is to be worked out through DCF and the courts. But what you're telling your kids is we're doing everything possible to get you back home, and we want you home. So that is a way to really encourage the kids, to try to help them through this time period, because it is hard. It is hard for a lot of people. Even when kids are home, it can be hard for people. So keep that all in mind. Do your best to plan ahead and don't wait until the week before or the week of, because they're going to be too busy. Your worker might be out of the office. So do whatever you can this week to present those plans and just keep on them until they can tell you yes or no or give you an alternative. And so there is a way to survive the holidays when dealing with DCF and keeping your case on track, but it's going to require you to somewhat be your own case manager, because otherwise, you've got a worker who's got a caseload and your case may not come up to the top. Your case may not be as critical. Your case doesn't have the emergency going on, and so it may not get the attention that it deserves. So do it for yourself and reach out to DCF. I always say to document, use email. It's a really good way to document conversations with DCF, and making sure that you've included supervisors on it if you need to. If you ever need assistance, again, trying to deal with DCF, definitely around getting your children back or getting them out of your life, don't hesitate to contact us. We're here to help. Take care.